following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, is that not the truth or what? It does not matter who the host is, that is for sure. Anyways, today's Monday, January the 31st of 2022. Take a wild guess, 31 of the year, and only 334 days left to go before the end of the shit show, that is for sure. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, so don't worry about that, because that's where we're coming in from. And we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at the place that we do things at, well, not sometimes, but all the time. Radio. So we are hanging out with our friends at Radio Big. So anyways, I hope you had a fantastic weekend. You were able to do some things that you wanted to do, maybe not do some things that you didn't want to do. I will tell you as we hang out here in Orlando of the Florida today, low of 30. Yes, low of 30. So we don't know what to do with ourselves. Currently 34 degrees. And I will tell you, getting into this joint this morning was all kinds of fun with the colder than normal weather, that is for sure. So a little expectancy type of things where it was kind of like, wow, well, that's a little bit colder than what I originally expected. But hey, those are the things that do occur from time to time. Anyways, if you're new to the show, let me kind of tell you the layout of the land here. We talk about the news and safety and the news. We bring in some professional broadcasters. They tell us what the hell's going on. I kind of sit here and question a lot of things about my life during that time frame. And then from there, we kind of hang out and just talk about some stuff that's going on inside of the world. But let's start it off like we traditionally do, and let's start talking about what is trending, because those things are always importante. So let's talk about the trends and go from there and see what exactly is going on inside of the world. Saturday was National Puzzle Day. Sunday was National Croissant Day. Dr. Johnny Fever was trending over the weekend after the news of Howard Hessmann death circulating on social media. Hessmann played the iconic DJ Johnny Fever on WKRP in Cincinnati. You know, I will tell you, for a youngling such as myself, who was interested in radio at the time. Not that I'm not interested in radio now, but it was one of those characters that was beloved by me and by many, many, many others inside of that industry at the time. Anyways, hashtag Championship Sunday was trending ahead of the Bengals, Chiefs, and the 49ers and the Rams games on Sunday. Rafael Nadal was trending after being crowned the Australian Open's men's single champion. And let's see, what else? What else do we have? Gene Hackman celebrated his 92nd birthday yesterday, Sunday, and that was making the trends as we were looking around and about and going all that stuff. So there you go. That's some things that were going on inside of the world, so we'll talk about those things. Anyway, so I think it's time for us to talk to our friends at the feature of the story of the news. Let them tell you what's circulating inside of their brain. I'll tell you what's circulating in ours, and then we will take it from there and run. Let's run. So we'll do all that kind of stuff. So let's get you to our friends at Feature Story News and let them tell you what exactly is going on inside of this lovely world of ours.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. North Korea's released images it says were captured from space from its most powerful missile launch in years. Pyongyang says it tested an intermediate-range ballistic missile, which could travel thousands of miles at full power. EU officials are in Ukraine for talks as tensions with Russia persist. Moscow insists it's not planning an invasion, but continues to amass troops and supplies at the border with Ukraine. Rosie Burchard reports from Brussels.
In a fresh show of solidarity with Ukraine amid ongoing tensions with Russia, the European Commission Executive Vice President Valdis Dombrovskis is in Kiev for meetings with government officials and the country's Prime Minister. Ahead of the visit, the senior EU official said the bloc had provided Ukraine with around $18.9 billion since 2014 to support the country's reforms, modernisation and fight against COVID-19. Brussels announced a new emergency financial package made up of grants and loans for Ukraine last week, which Executive Vice President Dombrovskis is also expected to discuss with his counterparts in Kiev.
Mandatory COVID vaccines for health workers in England are reportedly about to be scrapped. The government's been warned its plan could result in crippling staff shortages in the National Health Service. It's thought up to 80,000 staff in the sector are unjabbed and would need a first dose by and stay in work. Cabinet Minister Simon Clarke says it's being carefully considered.
This is something we keep under very, very close review. The reality is that we introduced this measure to protect both the NHS and the public from the consequences of people who aren't vaccinated, who are more likely, therefore, to get COVID and to infect others. We did that against the backdrop of the Delta variant, and that has now switched, as we know, to the Omicron variant now, which is more transmissible but less dangerous. I can't genuinely prejudge whatever decision is made. Obviously, we will reflect that new reality.
The Indian government's being accused by opposition parties of purchasing the spyware Pegasus and lying about it. A New York Times report says Indian officials purchased the snooping software in 2017 as part of a $2 billion arms deal with Israel. Ishan Garg reports from FSN's bureau in New Delhi.
India's main opposition party, the Indian National Congress, is demanding for the country's Information Technology Minister to be disqualified from the parliament. Mr. Ashnavi Vaishnav is being accused of lying to the public. Last year, he told the parliament and the country's Supreme Court that India had never purchased or used Pegasus. But several activists allege that their phones were hacked by officials. A petition in the country's Supreme Court alleges that officials used the snooping software on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's political opponents, journalists, as well as senior government officials. Two independent expert witnesses told the country's top court that they found evidence of Pegasus on the petitioners' phones. The government is calling the whole controversy an attempt to malign the country's image.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking today at developments in Myanmar, where 1 year ago the military seized power, launching a coup to stop the newly elected parliament from gathering. Aung San Suu Kyi, the Nobel laureate who leads the National League for Democracy, was jailed, along with other prominent NLD supporters. The party's victory in the November 2020 elections was blocked as the military took control. 1 year on, and peaceful protests have started giving rise to violent ones. Bob McMahon is an analyst with the New York-based Council on Foreign Relations.
You have basically a shadow government that has arisen in protest to the coup and gaining increasing support because of the crackdowns caused by the protest by a group known as the National Unity Government, or NUG. And it's trying to bring together various groups that have been fighting the junta and also trying to get foreign governments to support it. They have created a fighting force known as the People's Defense Force, which some experts think could actually start to consolidate control across the country. There is fighting going on levels of the country that many experts say they haven't seen before, just in terms of the sheer breadth of the fighting going on.
Myanmar's military stands accused of brutal massacres in a bid to retain power. All efforts by ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, to persuade the military to chart a path to fresh elections have failed, and China has largely normalised its relationship with the military junta. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, North Korea's released images it says were captured from space from its most powerful missile launch in years. EU officials are in Ukraine for talks as tensions with Moscow persist. Mandatory COVID vaccines for health workers in England are reportedly about to be scrapped. And the Indian government's being accused by opposition parties of purchasing the spyware Pegasus and lying about it. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this. You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com. Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely, lovely, lovely Monday in the cold zone is what I'm going to end up calling it. Anyway, so let's talk about some COVID stuff real quick. Just in regards to the COVID roundup, how are vaccine passports and mask mandates doing around the world? So let's take a look. In Austria, since the introduction of the vaccine passport, programs that only allows vaccinated people to the entry into public establishments, cases are up by 10,000%. Meanwhile, the country has an N95 mask mandate that has essentially locked down the unvaccinated for 2.5 months. In Australia, year over year, cases are up by 21,464%. This in a country with 96% of the population over the age of 16 who are fully vaccinated and actually camps to contain those who have been infected. Here we go. In Florida, cases have fallen by more than 50% in the last 2 weeks. Meanwhile, a study out of the Kaito University in Japan reveals that ivermectin has shown the best results against the Omicron versus any other treatment. A tale of two headlines. The Washington Post headline of August 13, 2021. DeSantis blames Florida surge on COVID season by that misleading experts say. Washington Post headline on January 28, 2022, COVID-19 may have seasons for different temperature zones, study suggests. Worth noting, it's almost like you can find the expert or study back of the claim of the narrative that you want to push. I mean, I don't know. It's just something to talk about. So let's talk about this real quick. Just in case, it's just a mask, so let's talk about it. The Massachusetts Restaurant Association has penned a letter to the mayor of the Boston demanding an end to the vaccine requirements to enter establishment, writing that some owners are losing up to $15,000 a week. Now, I'm going to give you the headline of this one, and I'm reading it directly how it's giving it to me. Badass mother truckers. Yeah, I did say badass mother truckers, just in case not to be confused with anything else. Matter of fact, before I get into that, I have Mr. Jim Posel that wants to come in real quick. So if you want to give another ring-a-ding-ding here, Mr. Posel, feel free to do so. I'll get you pumped in right away so we can actually talk real quick about your passport stuff, about the vaccine cards. So we can talk about that. So go ahead and feel free on coming in whenever you get a chance. Just so you have the inside Iggy. So we'll start going through this as we're waiting for Posel. A badass mother trucker, a convoy of hundreds of semi-trucks, farm tractors, and everyday cars and trucks rolled into Ottawa, Canada over the weekend to protest their aggressive vaccine requirements of ongoing lockdown restrictions. Despite the temperature well below zero, thousands of people gathered in public to celebrate the arrival of the protest of ongoing orders. The protest intends to keep Ottawa gridlocked until COVID measures are withdrawn. Yeah, withdrawn. So there you go. Just some things to think about real quick there. So interessante, as we are talking. What else do we have here? So don't cry out loud on Reddit. Anti-freedom advocates describe the noise of the horns and people upset their cats. I mean, I don't even know what that means, but sure. Something to think about as we are talking. For sure here. What else do we have? What else? Use evolutionary wines. Our kitty fear pooped in our bed among the places that she never has because of the outside of the box. I'm livid. My poor little girl. It feels terrible for pets downtown. By the way, in anticipation of the convoy arrival, Canadian Prime Minister and COVID thug, listen to that. Justin Trudeau announced that he had exposure to someone with COVID and it would be quarantining. It was later announced that he and his family fled the residence in Ottawa and the COVID approach. So there you go. Just a lot of seems like a lot of things going on with this. Worth noting what's next for both Trudeau and the protesters, and Trudeau's willing to mobilize the police to forcibly remove people by protesting their freedom. That is a question. Sounded more like a comment. And worth noting, proponent of the. Oh, here we go. Here we go. That was loud. That was loud. Let's see what we can do here. So also worth noting. Let's see what the worth noting side proponents real quick. Remaining unidentified distance and banishing for unvaccinated isolation contended society and continue the function because of the things that are ordering for home goods like services like a DoorDash and Instacart. It's the height of narcissism, arrogantism, and elitism. Oh my God, to demand the people responsible for transporting goods to allow these online services to function to receive vaccination and place cards for their own neuroses and fears, especially when those who work of the overwhelming conducted alone in a cab or a truck, not permitting them to cave outside the exemption for the class of workers also exemplifies overbearing authoritism, power, and control that they have neither earned or nor deserve. I feel like this article was very opinionated on how it was written. Anyways, we have Jim Bolzel here on the line, and he wants to tell you about some big stories that's going on in his neck of the woods. Jim, how are you?
Doing great, Jay.
It looks cold. It looks cold where you're at. I can tell you that.
It's a balmy -1 up here in upstate New York.
I'll take a pass. I'll take a pass on that. It's 34 here, and people are freaking out. So what's going on? Tell me about this story.
Well, up in this area, there was a huge fuss over the end of last week with the fake vaccination cards. Some healthcare workers got caught. They were apparently had access to the real vaccination cards, not the ones that we talked about last year, that we actually broke the story on Safety FM, on your show and my show, with the fake vaccination cards that were widely available online for free, downloaded from government websites. But apparently this group of people got a hold of the real ones. They made something they found them with close to $1 million in cash. And it was a real big story, but we broke it here on our programs.
I mean, so you're seeing this over the weekend. So do you know the process? Maybe we should talk about that. Do they just
basically from what they reported on the news, it was just by word of mouth. So that if you wanted a fake vaccination card, we had them, or that this group of people had them, and that they just distributed them. I know I've been approached by a number of people over the last year about getting fake vaccination cards, and I don't play those games. So, and I think this was foreseeable, especially when you're dealing with a paper vaccination card that that's easily obtainable, and if with a little bit of trial and error, you can make your own.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting thing as you are bringing this up, because it wasn't like it was going to be extremely difficult for anybody to replicate them. We kind of knew that from the very beginning. I'm starting to see now places, in particular, like we'll say the Apple phone or the Apple iPad, however you want to take a look at it, where they're actually doing the digital format of it, and supposedly whatever I guess location.
Yeah, over here, we have an app that's endorsed by the state and by the city of New York, where we're actually uploading our cards. And I've had to, in the last week, there's been 4 places I've gone to. One of them being a sports facility for my son plays basketball, where we've had to produce the vaccination card before they'll even allow us into the place.
Wow. Very, very, very interesting. So let me ask a strange question here. You did reference that you had multiple people actually approach you and attempt to sell these to you at one point. Did they ever give you a price point?
To me, wanted me to sell them.
Oh, so what were they? What was the ask? Like, what was the?
The ask was, hey, Jim, do you know where we could get some? We heard it on your podcast. Do you know where we could get these things? And would you be willing to do them? And you'll make a lot of money doing this.
I mean, I'm wondering what this thing's going for on the black market. I'm being dead serious too. It's not a joke as I reference that.
They're going from anywhere from $100 to $300 on the black market.
That's crazy. I mean, that's nuts in regards on the turn there. I mean, it's not like it's something that's out of reach and be able to produce then.
Yeah, and what it seems to me, I work primarily in the construction and maritime environments. It seems to be an organized group that's doing this. for example, you get 8 or 9 people at a company that get together that say, hey, let's see if we can get these cards, because none of them want to get the vaccinations. Or at least there are some of them that don't want to give over real medical records. So they'll come up with fake ones.
Wow. Well, Jim, I appreciate you calling in to let us know what's going on. What's going on your show? What's going on with Safety Wars?
As everybody who listens knows, our offices and studios were flooded last year, which are in my basement. And we're finally back up and running there. We're going to be doing some more stuff with videos and YouTube and things of that nature. And we're also just going to be doing our regular thing, current safety issues, covering the ongoing COVID stuff, and just regular safety stuff that we talk about, human and organizational performance, and not faulting the employees for everything. That seems to resonate big time with a lot of the people I deal with, where they want to know how to manage things and how to deal with people in a reasonable manner, and rather than whacking themselves up the proverbial head with a brick every day, because they're having problems with motivating people, having problems with understanding people. We're trying to go out there and develop understanding and partnerships and cooperation rather than confrontation. However, I'm going to tell you, like I tell everybody, don't be afraid to have a confrontation if you need to have a confrontation. All right? Just that you have to make sure. So, for example, recently we had somebody who decided to get into an email exchange with somebody who they probably shouldn't have, and that other person had a whole bunch of pre-written emails to send out. So, for example, person wanting a confrontation had a 20-word email. The response that he received in less than an hour later was around 800 words, which means it was already pre-written. So that's the type of stuff you want to avoid. You want to try to work with people.
Well,
but if you have people, you be prepared,
That's the thing. If you can't write the email without smiling, then there's an issue. Well, Jim, I do appreciate you calling in, and I'm
no problem.
We'll speak soon. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the world right here. So, don't know if you heard this over the weekend, but CNN, we'll say had some struggles. CNN reported that the mother of a 2-year-old who has resorted to the unthinkable now that had the monthly $300 child having a payment that has expired, she potty trained the little girl. The mom says that the diapers are a huge expense, and when you have to go to the funds to cover those, you have to get creative. Counter argument from the co-editor of there said being forced to potty train early because there's no diapers on the shelf. Well, not sure about that one, but here we go. More than 60,000. So, I don't know. I don't know if we should really talk about this. Potty training early, is that a bad thing? I don't think it is. Who knows anymore?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Out in the cold, more than 60,000 people in Massachusetts were out without power over the weekend amid an extremely low temperatures in the wake of the blizzards and the winter storms that clobbered the East Coast. By the way, the National Weather Services defines the blizzards as blowing or falling snow with 35 miles per hour winds, as create visibility less than a quarter mile for at least 3 hours. Wind speeds in parts of the states exceeded 80 miles per hour. 80 miles per hour. Some things to think about for sure. So do you want me to tell you about the box office now, or would you rather me tell you later? I can tell you later. Let's just do it some later because we're kind of slightly behind here. And let's talk about some main story stuff, because I think this is going to be important.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so we've been talking about it. We've been moving about it. We've been doing this and doing that about it. So you know that it's part of the conversation. You know that it's things that are going on. So if you have been hanging out and you've been taking a look at the world, well, you haven't been rocking in the free world, if you get my drift there. And the reason that I say this is because there has been some controversy over the last little bit about some things that Mr. Joe Rogan has said on his podcast and some people wanting to remove what they have going on inside of the world because of Mr. Joe Rogan's podcast. So let's talk about this real quick, because I think that this will be one of those interesting things that we can reference, that we can talk about, that we can move and groove and all that other kind of fun stuff, opposed to just saying, hey, whatever. But let me talk about this real quick. Spotify will add a COVID advisory to podcasts after Joe Rogan controversy. The music streaming service Spotify says that it will implement changes to guard against COVID-19 misinformation after some high-profile artists and public figures criticized the platform for hosting Joe Rogan's hit podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. Music legends Neil Young and Johnny Mitchell each pulled their music from Spotify over their objections to Rogan, who experts say repeatedly made false claims about the coronavirus and vaccine. Over the weekend, Niels Lofgren also confirmed that he has pulled his music. Author and researcher Brene Brown said that she would stop releasing new podcasts until further notice, and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have also expressed concern about the COVID misinformation on the platform. On Sunday, Spotify founder and CEO Daniel Ek said in a statement that the company didn't want to be content censor, but that it could have been more transparent about internal content policies. Based on the feedback from several weeks, it's become clear to me that our obligation is to do more to provide balance and widely accepted information from the medical and scientific communities, guiding us through the unprecedented time, said Daniel. Spotify will add a new content advisor to podcast episodes that discuss COVID-19, which are direct to listeners to the hub, the data-driven facts, up-to-date information as shared scientists, physicians, academics, and public health authorities around the world as the link of trusted sources. Daniel said that the content advisory is believed to be the first of its kind of a major podcasting platform. The streamers has also published its existing platform rules and says that it will raise awareness to those contents among Spotify podcasters and other creators. This includes to ban content that promotes dangerous and false, dangerous, deceptive medical information that may cause offline harm and possess a direct threat to public health. In December, the Coalition of Scientists, Medical Experts, and others sent Spotify a letter highlighting false and misleading information claims that Rogan has made on his podcast, such as encouraging young people not to get vaccinated and promoting ivermectin to treat COVID-19, despite the Food and Drug Administration warning to the contrary. So I have to tell you, here's my gig, and I'm going to talk about this real quick. I know that all of a sudden now it seems like, hey, we need to have a warning label just to be able to listen to a podcast. I mean, that's essentially what we're saying here. The other portion that we run into right away is I think that a lot of this is becoming that whole thing that happened many, many, many moons ago, such as it did with Howard Stern. And let me explain what I mean here. Where a lot of people thought that Howard Stern was a pervert. You cannot listen to him because he's terrible and all this other fun stuff that people would say without people ever listening to Howard Stern. So here's what I want to do. I'm not going to play the whole 9 minutes, but this is something that just came up on Joe Rogan's Instagram. Take a listen to this real quick.
Hello, friends. I wanted to make a video to address some of the controversy that's been going on over the past few days. And first of all, to say thank you to everyone that sent love and support. I truly, truly appreciate it. And it's been very nice to hear from you. I wanted to make this video, first of all, because I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about 2. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines. both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is. I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous. They had dangerous misinformation in them. The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while ago are now accepted as fact. Like, for instance, 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, you would be removed from social media. They would ban you from certain platforms. Now, that's accepted as fact. If you said, I don't think cloth masks work, you would be banned from social media. Now, that's openly and repeatedly stated on CNN. If you said, I think it's possible that COVID-19 came from a lab, you'd be banned from many social media platforms. Now, that's on the cover of Newsweek. All of those theories that at one point in time were banned were openly discussed by those two men that I had on my podcast that have been accused of dangerous misinformation. I do not know if they're right. I don't know, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person who sits down and talks to people and has conversations with them. Do I get things wrong? Absolutely, I get things wrong, but I try to correct them. Whenever I get something wrong, I try to correct it because I'm interested in telling the truth. I'm interested in finding out what the truth is. And I'm interested in having interesting conversations with people that have differing opinions. I'm not interested in...
So there you go. I wanted to share that information because I think that, to some extent, if you are listening to things out of content, and I'll tell you, that goes about 6 minutes longer, but I want you to hear some of this, opposed to people are saying that he's saying, and he's saying, and he's saying. He's asking questions. And yes, some people are going as far as saying that he has a responsibility because of the platform that he has. He's bringing them on to ask questions. Is it justifiable? I don't know. I think that you should have freedom to be able to have conversations. Just because I have someone on my shows does not necessarily mean that I agree with what they have to say. This is why Disclaimer Central occurs. I mean, let's just be realistic on what's going on. So we're getting to the point now that there going to be a warning label on everything that goes on. It becomes a very interesting conversation. I get to the point now that I start wondering, is thinking going to require a label? Okay, maybe that's just me being a horse's ass by saying that. But also at the same time, it's so many things that we keep on considering that, okay, people are driving this narrative. I don't know if it's a narrative. It's just a thought process. It's questions that people have. Thinking's okay. Asking questions is okay. Believe me, I think that it is. But at this point, it's becoming more and more dangerous on how these games look, on what exactly we can and cannot do. I'm not going to tell you that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because I don't feel that that's accurate today.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
You know how sometimes there's plans for everything out there? You have plans of going back to the gym. You have plans on eating right. You have plans on doing a diet. All those things. What if I told you that you can make a plan to stop male pattern baldness? And let me tell you how you can start this journey off right now with my friends at Keeps. All you have to do is go to the website keeps.com, KEEPS.com/safety to receive your first month free of treatment. Keep in mind, 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time that they are 35. More than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. There are 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss. Keeps offers them both. So all you need to do is go to KEEPS.com/safety to find out more and to get your plan rolling. Now keep this in mind. For a limited time, get your first month free and claim your offer at KEEPS. That's keeps.com/safety. KEEPS.com/safety.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Oh, she doesn't want to waste her precious time. There you go. Wow, this sounds like a little oldies throwback there going on. Anyway, so let's take a listen to what's going on here. This is A Bluff by Gloria Tells. This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. Oh, good old Spotify. Anyways, there you go. Stuff going on, like always, around here. Anyways, let's get moving and grooving. Thank you to Gloria Tells for allowing us to play A Bluff here on the Rated R Safety Show. So taking a listen real quick, let me give you the top 5 of what was going on the box office over the weekend. At number 5 was The Kingsman at $1.7 million. At number 5, Redeeming Love at number 4 at $3.5 million. At number 3 was Sing with $5.7 million. At number 2 was Scream at $12.2 million. And at the number 1 spot was Spider-Man No Way Home with There You Go, $14 million. So we talked about this, some death going on. Cristina Cabrera has died. The comedian passed away on January the 22nd after catching COVID-19, which later developed into pneumonia. He was 40. And I said Christina, and I meant Christian. Carol Speed has died. The actress who starred in The Mac passed away on January the 14th in Oklahoma. Her family announced the death on social media, but did not share the cause of death. She was 76. Howard Hessmann has died. The actor, remembered for his role of Dr. Johnny Fever on the sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati, passed away on Saturdays of complications of colon surgery. He was 81 at the time of the passing. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world as we are talking. Anyways, before we get too far away into a lot of this stuff, let me make sure that I tell you about the most important thing. Let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences about people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To hear more information, all you have to do is go to afsp.org. That is afsp.org, or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. 741. There you go. A lot of stuff going on this morning as we are talking. Anyways, before we get too far away, let's bring some Johnny Smalls in here and let him tell you about the market beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, January 31st, 2022. The market sell-off deepened last week and may worsen in the weeks to come if the outlook for earnings does not improve. While the Q4 season is unfolding with better than expected earnings for most of the S&P 500 companies, the margin of outperformance is the smallest it's been in 2 years and getting smaller. By all accounts, inflation is still on the rise and will cut into earnings in the calendar and fiscal 2022. Despite higher realized prices for most end products. What this means for the market is a reset of value and a shift from growth to dividends. This week will bring the monthly NFP report, as well as some key reads on manufacturing and housing. The bulk of the data is expected to support ongoing economic expansion, but at a slower pace than in previous months. If the data is weaker than expected or shows growing impact from inflation, it could help drive equity prices lower. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one, letting us know what exactly is going on inside of the world, because, sometimes it's easy to get lost inside of there, It's not a difficult task to do. Anyways, let's get into some more stuff, talking about what is going on inside of this fantastic world of ours, because that is importante. So let's take it from the very top, taking a look around in some news here. McDonald's is taking a page out of its fans playbook, adding 4 hacked menu items for a limited time. Beginning today, customers in the U.S. can order by name some unique pairings with by what has been concocted by the fans, but this way to assemble the colossal creations themselves. The hash brown McMuffin, a sausage McMuffin with eggs and hash brown, a crunchy double, a 6-piece chicken McNugget combined with a barbecue sauce and a double cheeseburger, a surf and turf, a filet of fish and a double cheeseburger, and a land air sea Big Mac chicken and a filet of fish. The company is coupling the campaign with the special digital deals. It is when the customers finalize and realize that the Big Mac, McChicken, filet of fish are the same thing, with just different sauces. That's going to be the disappointment there. It's official. The Girl Scouts cookie season has started. And if you are a fan, and who isn't, you're really going to be into something to look forward to this year. The newest Girl Scout cookie just dropped, and they're called Adventurefuls. They're described as indulgent of brownie-inspired cookie and caramel flavor cream and a hint of sea salt. According to one lucky or so who got his hand on an advanced box, the chocolate itself is reminiscent of the other chocolate flavors, the Girl Scout cookies, but an additional of caramel cream, a subtle but perfect hint of salt. And these are just the best Girl Scout cookies I've ever tasted. And even better, for 2022, Girl Scouts have patterned out with DoorDash to launch an on-demand Girl Scout cookie delivery. Just one more reason I support the troops. So something to think about as you are talking.
Duh.
So, think about this now. DoorDash will be delivering your cookie habit directly to your household. Think about that on just some craziness on what is going on right there, just for sure. So anyways, before I get too far into the weeds here, maybe it's time to have Johnny Smalls do some motivation, and he can do that in a minute or less.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Brian. Lao Tzu said, "A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent on arriving." I think this is a fun one. I also think you need to say, a good traveler. So if you're just traveling and have no set destination or schedule, this is true. If you're on your way to work or if you're trying to get to an appointment, I would focus on the destination and make sure you get there on time. But when you have time to wander and travel, be sure to give yourself the freedom to just go with the flow. Don't overplan your trip. You get to explore things and see things along the way, and you'll have way more fun. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlysaMorgan.com. Now, if you ever looked into fasting or intermittent fasting for weight loss, you might have wondered what is the better timing for it. For example, if you do your fast evening through evening, or morning through morning, or evening through next morning. Well, turns out, according to multiple studies presented at the Obesity Society conference, one of the most effective fasting windows for weight loss is morning or early afternoon through next morning. A study found that people who fasted within that time window experienced more fat burning throughout the course of the night. Also, people who broke their fast in the morning had more metabolic flexibility, and they were able to shift easier from carb metabolism to fat metabolism. In other words, they had more options of what foods to break their fast with, unlike in the evening, where they had to be more restrictive. For additional resources, check out AlysaMorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. North Korea's released images it says were captured from space from its most powerful missile launch in years. EU officials are in Ukraine for talks as tensions with Russia persist. Mandatory COVID vaccines for health workers in England are reportedly about to be scrapped. And the Indian government is being accused by opposition parties of purchasing the spyware Pegasus and lying about it.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Okay. 52 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out. A California resident won Friday night's Mega Million jackpot for $421 million. The winner has the option of taking $289.5 million lump sum or doing something else, waiting it out, I guess. Tuesday night's drawing will be for $20 million or a $13.7 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for a $113 million jackpot, a $77.8 million cash payout. So there you go. Some things to do if you're so inclined to do so. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some things that are going on inside of the world here. Let's take a look at what happened back on this date. Taking a look around real quick. Back in 1999, yeah, we're going far here. Family Guy premieres on Fox, created by Seth MacFarlane. The show centers around the Griffin family, who live in a fictional city of Quahog, Rhode Island. The show's storylines often mock American culture, so that happened back in 1999. If you're looking at, let's see, what are you looking at? If you're looking for some days of the year to celebrate today, I got some of those for you. National Backwards Day, National Hot Chocolate Day, National Inspired Your Heart with Art Day. Inspire your heart with Art Day. Yeah, that's an easy read. National Bubble Wrap Day. That's some other things that you can actually celebrate. I don't know if you heard about this, but this kind of broke over the weekend. This was kind of going all over the place. What's up with Tom Brady? No one knows for sure. ESPN reported on Saturday that Brady was retiring after 22 seasons, but wait, hours later, the Associated Press reported that Brady called the brass at the Buccaneers to tell them that he hasn't made up his mind yet. And Brady's dad, Tom Brady Sr., told the NFL Network that Tommy has not made a final decision on one way or the other, and anybody else that says that is absolutely wrong. Follow the money. Michael Giannanti reports at Twitter, says that Brady's contract stipulates that he gets a $15 million payout from this $20 million signing bonus if he is with the team on February the 4th, money that he wouldn't get if he retires before then. So let's take a look here. I don't think he's going to retire until at least next week or later this week if he's going to do it, because, hey, why would you not want the rest of your signing bonus? I mean, let's just be realistic here. It doesn't take a genius to figure that one out, but there you go. Anyways, 55 minutes past the top of the hour. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm, exclusively doing Jay Allen in the mornings. If you want to come over, hang out, and let's do some things together. We get to listen to some music and all that kind of fun stuff, because that's some fun time. times. Some fun times to do some stuff. We'll take a listen to whatever. Maybe we'll even be rocking inside of the free world. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, let's talk about some whack facts real quick. Diet Pepsi was originally called Patio Diet Cola. Patio Diet Cola. 90% of all restaurants fail during their first year of operation. The yo-yo was originally a weapon used in the Philippine jungle. The oldest pig in the world lived to the age of 68. If you're over 100 years old, there's an 80% chance that you're a woman. White-faced Capricorn monkeys greet each other with sticking their fingers in each other's noses. I think I know some people that do the exact same thing. That's a whole other story.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, let's give you some scoops of BS real quick. Paramount has announced that a December 2023 release date for the new J.J. Abrams produced Star Trek movie. He says that he's already figured out the beginning, the middle, but has no idea how it will end. In other words, it's ready to go. U.S. priority mail postage are going up by 3%. I don't know why they keep on raising the price. I'm going to email them to find out. Researchers show that King Tut have died of a chariot accident. He was probably etching something while he was driving. Typical teenager stuff. Justin Timberlake turns 41 today. He'll celebrate by continuing to be better than you and me at all aspects of life. Fact of the day: Pluto was suggested by an 11-year-old girl in England, and Uranus, an 11-year-old boy, of course. So there you go, some things to think about as we are talking on this lovely, lovely morning. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, I got one for you. Has anyone tried putting all the wordy answers together to see if they even spell out a warning? If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What thing that you said that you never did, what thing that you said you never do have you done? Seriously, there is some of that. I mean, there is some things there to think about for sure. What else do we have? What else do we have here? What else? If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. If you're an average worker, 6 minutes of your day today will be spent doing this. What is it? Looking for another job. No, that's not a joke either. That's serious. That's serious stuff. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on RadioBig.fm and SafetyFM.com. Anyways, we can't do what we do without you, the most important part of our radio stations, and that is the listener. If you want to hang out with us throughout the day, you're more than welcome on doing so by taking a listen to our different apps or taking a listen to us wherever you have a website. That's at RadioBig.fm or or you can even do Safety.fm. Or SafetyFM.com, whatever you find easier to do so. So anyways, there you go. Anyways, everything goes as planned. We will be back tomorrow with another stupendous show. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. A weekend wasted isn't wasted weekend. Think about it in that fashion. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.